Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Crashy, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about whether or not I think that Pokemon Unite has the potential for esports. Now, we actually just got that new patch notes that just dropped. We have some ideas for how Timmy Studios is looking to kind of run the game. And I'm going to be honest, I have to say that I'm pretty impressed with the fact that they are so proactive about balance changes. From my perspective, it kind of looks like this is a data-driven balance patch or balance update. It seems like they can clearly see which characters are winning, have high win percentages, which abilities are being taken on the higher percentage of things. And I think that they've probably used a lot of that data to proactively balance the game, try to get some things more in line. And the fact that the game's been out like, what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? I think we're going into the third week right now, or we're about halfway through the third week right now of the game's release. That's really, really good to see, a proactive dev team. Now, the biggest part about this upcoming update is they're going to be doing the Spectator test, and it's going to be from 8.4 to 8.6, so there's going to be a 2-day window where there will be a Spectator Client built into the game. Now, if you guys aren't familiar, what a Spectator Client is, essentially it's a slot like inside of a custom game that you will have kind of this like director-like position, like a video producer-like position. So you'll have like overhead, maybe it'll give you additional information, like it'll show all the different abilities that they're taking, or the AO synergy that they have, or what level they are on the actual UI itself. I don't actually know exactly what it's going to look like, but the Spectator Client is essentially a tool used for like broadcasters and tournament organizers in order to run a production or have some form of live stream going for their tournaments. So I think that there's something to note by putting in a spectator tool, unless it's just like a public spectator tool where you could like jump into like say Masters games, which I think would be really cool, but that's a lot of work from the technical standpoint. I imagine that this is specifically being built with competitive matches, a competitive community in mind. Now, the other thing about Pokemon Unite that I was really impressed on is that when I first started playing the Japanese beta, that's when I really started getting into the game, that I noticed that the game was launching, or the beta had come out with custom matches and a ranked mode. To me, that speaks volumes. You don't really require, it's not a necessity, it's not required for you to have custom matches in a ranked mode for a game to be successful or for a game to be playable. And I think that kind of action speaks volumes in terms of what their focus is. Now, here's the thing, I don't have a very colorful history in the Nintendo kind of like eSports, or like, you know what I mean, like the Switch Nintendo competitive scenes. I'm not really big from Smash or anything like that. I don't really have a lot of background there. But what I do know, at least in terms of sentiment or how I've heard things, is that they don't really play ball with eSports all that well. They don't seem to really care that much. For whatever reason, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below, it feels like this game is the one that is meant to break that mold. There's obviously some kind of a contract on the table between the developers who are making the game, Nintendo themselves, and then Pokemon Company, who all have a stake in this game, because it is a game that is like a free-to-play games as a service, which means that it's a money maker. That's what these games are meant to do. They're meant to exist for long periods of time in order to make money, but at the same time, it is an inherently competitive game. MOBAs are very, very competitive, and this one specifically is being developed, I would say, in order to be competitive. So this may be Nintendo or the Switch or whoever, it may be their first intentional competitive title, and I think that the prospect for that is very, very exciting. Smash Bros has been being played competitively for God knows how long, and while as long as the reality with competitive games and esports titles is, as long as there's a community of players that want to play it, it will almost always be played competitively. If there's a large enough following, a large enough player base, and that burning desire and passion to be the best, then you'll always have a following. And that's why you still see competitive Melee to this day. It's because that's just there's a passion behind that people really push forward. And I think that with the potential developer support, with the potential support from Nintendo and Pokemon Company, I am very interested. I might even make a prediction that we see them announce some kind of like World Series, some kind of World Cup, like Fortnite or something, you know what I mean? Like some kind of a world championship that, you know, they'll either run on their own and do some kind of a big deal for, or maybe, you know, partner up with something a little bit smaller. So maybe they're just going to like get their feet wet a little bit and throw something like a sponsored or like a hosted tournament through like Evo or something. So in my opinion, the more and more I think about it, the more evidence that I get towards their kind of design philosophy and their proactive decision to balance the game like 2.5 weeks into the game's release. The addition of the Spectator Client, launching the game with a ranked mode and custom matches, I think that it's really starting to line up to me that this game has a lot of competitive potential and has a lot of esports potential specifically. It's already a competitive game. Everybody wants to climb up the ranks and do well. But I think that we're seeing them really step on the gas when it comes to at least building the tools to gauge the interest, right? Because everything always has to start from the community end, and giving the community that spectator tool will give, you know, various third-party tournament organizers the ability to host tournaments or run a production. And if they see that's showing that ability to host tournaments successfully is, you know, potentially there, then they will probably act on that, in my opinion. So as far as my thoughts on this, I think that's amazing. I would love to see this game go competitive. I would potentially try to go competitive on it, or if a lot of you guys probably don't know this about me, I'm also like an esports caster. I have done some esports casting, so I'd love to cast it. I'd love to be a fan of it, follow it, watch it, and yeah, so that would be really, really awesome. I would really love to see that. So what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, I definitely appreciate you spending your time with me here on the channel. Be sure to be kind to one another, tell someone that you love them, and I'll see you on the next video.